What is up, ninjas? My name is Samworld. I am on a huge time constraint right now, so what I've done, guys, for you is I've pretty much minimized everything down to what we've changed in the second episode, the arrangement and certain things in the track. I'm taking my daughter to Disneyland in 30 minutes, so I have to get this done fast and edit it fast and have it up. We're going to be there the whole day, but I want to make sure this video comes out to you guys, so I've made it short, effective, hopefully productive, and if you guys have any suggestions, as always, on where the track should go, let me know down in the comments below. Now, in the previous episode, I did get a comment where someone told me the introduction was a bit too short, and I totally agree. I've added two reference tracks here. One is the Fisher, You Little Beauty, and the other one is the Shiba Sound, Rock the House. Their tracks, they drop at the 33 bar mark, so I totally agree with the guy that left that comment. I'll give you the props there. We are going to pretty much be doing that. So I haven't done any work on the introduction, but I've worked on a little bit of the mix of the track, especially the kick and bass, and as well as moving it forward, as you're going to see, and we're going to talk about that all today. As always, guys, if you want to support the channel, evilsounds.com. We are using the Deceiver pack in this track, and we might use other packs out there, like I did use the Cashmere one, as you're going to see. But essentially, everything in this track right now is going to be Deceiver. And if you want to support the channel, you're looking for a bomb-ass tech house pack, make sure to check it out. With that being said, guys, let's hear it so you guys can see and hear the changes.
After party. After party. After party. After party. After party. After party. Meet me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the after party.
We're going to fast forward it a bit.
After party. Meet me at the after party. After party. After party. Meet me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the after party.
Okay, so those are going to be the changes, guys, and we're going to be going over them, what I've done, because it does sound a little bit differently. The idea is still the same. However, there's one new synth shot, and we do have that first legit breakdown that happens after, I believe it's going to be 16 bars here, okay? And again, I'm following the arrangement of both Fisher and Shiba Sound. Now, with the reference tracks, guys, I like to have them. One, it helps me stay in focus and avoid tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is going to be where you're in that loop and you just don't know what to do and you're just stuck. It also helps with arrangement, and it also helps with mix down decisions. See it as quality control for yourself. A cool little shortcut you can do is Control K. You can hit on one of the tracks, press 1. And on the next track, press 2, Control K out. That way, I turn those off, and whenever I want to check them, I can just do this. And then if I want to exit out, okay. Now, the first change that I have is going to be to the bass and the kick. The kick has been changed to a dumpier kick, and it's going to sound like this. Now, I did add a transient master from Native Instruments, which is just a transient designer. Some good ones out there are going to be the Plugin Alliance transient one they have. Waves is also going to have one called Trans X. Those are all good ones. Now, I like this one because it doesn't accentuate the volume too much, and it does have a limiter, so it doesn't, again, usually when you find yourself adding a huge amount of attack or something, you're going to see the kick go from 6 if you have it set there all the way up to 0 or plus 6 dB. Again, not what we want, so we go with this one and just a bit of hint. A little bit more just to give it a little knock at 10%. That's about that. We have an EQ here, which is just pretty simple, getting rid of some of the tape noise that you get from routing these kicks into tape compressors or analog compressors that give you a bit of noise. Also, the Kramer tape from Waves was used to make some of these kicks to compress them a bit, so you still get some of that noise. I don't like it, so I was getting rid of it. Okay, from there, the bass is the next big thing. It's still the same processing we did before with the compressions that we did. However, we have reduced a bit on the area of 261. Or actually, yeah, it's going to be 261 there. Now, this is the difference. Check it out. If I just have this like so. With it on.
After party.
Not on. You can see it helps control that low end a little bit better. It doesn't sound so like in your face, but it helps control it. It helps tame it a bit. So that was the idea there. And the reason I came to that conclusion was, again, when I was using reference Shiba soundtrack, which is a little bit closer to my baseline in terms of the weight on it compared to the Fisher one. The bass was pretty much taking up to here, around 297. So I do have a cut there. I'm not letting the bass cover all of this. And that cut there allows some of the stuff up here to breathe and have more space. That's the first thing, because this bass goes up, I think, all the way up to the mid-highs. And then we reduced a bit here as ours was up here, and it was just too much. So that helped in that decision there. The last thing we did is one of the tricks I've been teaching you guys on my channel, the Pro MB, aggressively mixing the low end, which is going to help in just tightening it up a bit. With it off, you can hear the kick is just out of control, but now we got a little bit more balance. All right, so with those, that's how we get. Okay, we might switch the kick or add a little bit of a top kick just to get a little bit more highs on it later on, but for now, I like the way this sounds. Now, the next thing is the claps got EQ'd like so. Pretty standard EQing. I also made it all mono, so I got both layer of the claps, control, control, control G, and we got it into the clap bus there. And everything else is the same. The open hat's the same. Nothing has changed there, okay? The rhythm is the same on the drum. From there, we do have this downlifter noise. And then it just goes away really fast. That's something that Shiba Sound does in his track here. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for it real fast. And then it just goes away. We might find a way to make that a little bit more interesting, or I might just choose to make it in Serum myself and give it a little bit more of an interesting vibe. But for now, that is a good placeholder. It might make the cut of the song. We don't want to go all out as well with it, but perfect for me right now.
After party.
All right, we got that after party vocal. Now the kick is going to have an auto filter that we're going to use strategically in the breakdown of the songs, as well as in certain parts of the song to help transition. Here, we're just taking away the lows of the kick in this exact area, similar to what he does and what Fisher, I believe, does up here. And in essence, just going to...
After party.
So we still have that kick going. And it sounds... Okay.
After party.
Now, the vocal is going to have a huge reverb being applied to it via a return channel, which is going to be our C, which was a plate reverb, but I switched it back to an Ableton reverb.
After party.
That is the automation of our return channel there, which is being routed there. The reason I like the return more is that if I do this and I go with this guy on the channel up to 70, it's going to mask the vocal too much. So with the return, it's a lot cleaner and you can route other things to it. You save a lot of CPU power, but that is more of the mixing way of doing stuff, putting your reverbs on returns. Now, I don't do it for all the songs, sounds, but only for certain.
After party.
And then we get that little bleed there, which I wanted. More atmosphere for that little section.
After party. After party.
Now, next we have is another sound that's new to you guys called the BA Dirty Shot, and it's going to be in the Deceiver pack as well. It's going to sound like this. Now, if I get rid of the EQ and the compressor, I found that it was a bass style of sound, but I played it up a higher octave, and it gave me a nice little party horn kind of vibe, like you're fucking drunk kind of vibe. You know, it's that saw, but it's a fucked up saw, if you know what I mean. All right, just an EQ here, cutting it around 300 to get rid of the mid-lows and the low. OTT to make it tight. And then, of course, we got that sidechain going on it. Heavy. I don't really want to preserve that. I want it to have a bit of a groove. And then this compressor is just helping tame it up. Okay, and then this is actually going to be playing the melody from our bass, believe it or not. It's essentially just playing these top notes on it, but it's doing it at its own rhythm again, so that helps add to the bass that we already have. After party. So I'm using what I already have to add to the idea. I could have came up with a new melody for sure, but sounds good to me, and I like the way that sounds. It has this sort of drunk vibe. So we go there, and that's the only change, guys. Everything else is just going to be pretty much just all the drums come in there, and that's
After party. After party.
So there we do the same thing with the kick. Again, we get rid of the lows of the kick fully, and then we approach the break. Now the break, there's a bit of automation going. The first thing is the kick. We're getting rid of the lows on it, so it has that nice kind of vibe, sort of like Fisher does a lot, or Chris Lake, whoever you think makes the music. The bass also gets a lot of its lows reduced. And of course, everything's going to get put back in on that drop. So that's going to give us this little... The vocal gets EQ'd down to make room for the bup. This comes down in terms of automation. So again, these are all just transitional automations. Use the effects to mask these automations, and that helps. Now, the only sample here that's not from the pack is this Cashmere crowd roar. I essentially wanted this to sound like a fucking actual party, but this is the closest thing I could get. You know it, baby! I'm the best! I am the greatest! And then I just have it looping and stuff. And then on the master, there is a reverb and an echo delay that gets automated as we approach that. So the reverb comes in hot here. That's why you heard reverb on the kick. And it's going to be like...
After party. Meet me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the after.
I want it to sound like we're actually inside a club or outside a club, and everyone's like, there's a lot of atmosphere. I might switch to Cashmere crowd roar, but it helps a lot in adding atmosphere on the second drop as well. But here, all that is happening is just a bunch of automation with the EQs and whatnot. As we approach here, this part, you can see that this gets automated to hell, down below, not to heaven, up. The bass remains the same, but there is a low pass on this guy here, going down slowly towards here. So we kind of start hearing it fade out, and then we bring it all back in from 0 to 100 real quick on the drop. And of course, we have all the elements that we did in the first episode, our long fill, our uplifter, and then we have another uplifter, and that's about it. So when we hear that, it creates such a nice little tension vibe that people are just waiting for that drop to start dancing again.
After party. Meet me at the after party.
This fool's at the club.
After party.
People are going
Meet
crazy.
Me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the
That
after
echo
party.
delay's putting in work.
After party. Meet me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the after party.
Dude, that is just, that's when the song really starts sounding like a song in this area. Over here, it's like, but the moment we hit that, I just get like so fucking amped. Like I just want to fucking take some cocaine or something, and I don't do that, guys. I'll probably just do vodka and Red Bull. That's my cocaine. Legal cocaine. That's my advice. But that helps. Okay, so next we have a payoff sound. Now, usually in tech house, you have build up to something, and then you give the payoff, which could be the drop, which could be a certain sound. You need that payoff, or else your song just sounds boring. And for us, the payoff is... So again, another sound from the pack. It's called Square and Saw Meet Together. There hasn't been anything done to it, just the standard sound, no mods used from the mod wheels. However, there's something neat. This sound has a huge long release on it. What that means is if I hit a note, you can see the release on it. Now, if I do, I can still pitch down with Serum, but I've decided to use the sound shifter here. And what that's going to do is it's going to pitch down here. So again, remember, we have that release after this note hit. So the sound shifter is essentially grabbing and pitching down for me. You can see the automation here. If I do it drastically, you'll see what it's doing.
After party. Meet me at the after party.
That crowd effect's putting in so much work. I might choose to change it. I might not. We'll fucking see, guys. But that's the payoff there. That's the sound. Of course, reverb. I've opted to leave it in mono, so everything's at one voice. Retrigs are on. And that's about it. The sound is a pretty cool sound. I wanted to make a unique payoff. I didn't want to use the Fisher saw that everyone has been using, so I went with that, which is a little bit more unique for my taste. I might make it sound wide. I'm not sure yet. It's all going to come down to when we finally finalize the mix. From there, that's essentially it, guys. We
After party. Meet me at the after party.
So this synth shot comes back in. I'm not sure if it should come back in over here or if I should wait to this part here, just so it doesn't get old fast, okay? That's going to be one of the biggest things that I'm going to have to look at in terms of creating this song. Other than that, those are all the changes I've made to the song, guys. Really nothing crazy, but again, we moved it along. We've done a bit of automations. Automations are everything in transitioning from break to drop and whatnot in Tech House. So make sure, again, you mess around with that stuff. Your echo, your master, your endless smile, which I still recommend. They're all going to come together to give you, again, a satisfying drop and a satisfying break. Again, I haven't done anything here. We are going to be essentially dropping the song at the 33 bar mark, like I said, which is usually going to be a minute in most BPMs, or close to a minute. And then our first legit breakdown starts after 16 bars from there, which is 49. And then we're going to have another drop, another break. And from here, I might choose to just end the song after that. Have our little section and then our outro. If you want to go out like as long as Fisher, that's also awesome, but I think that's too long for a Tech House track for my taste. So those are going to be the things, guys. Again, nothing has been done, just switched out the kick and whatnot, but I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you guys got some goodies, and if you have any recommendations, again, leave them down in the comments. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care. Peace out. You have a good one.
Meet me at the after party. After party. Meet me at the after party.